So, moving on to football, as I love to say, it's probably my favorite thing to say on this channel here. And we have free agency, which I'll get into separately. However, I believe the biggest news that has happened since I was last on this radio station here, last on this YouTube channel. Last week was spring break, so here on FAUOurradio.com you did not hear my show at JK Productions. So what I did was I recorded my own video at home, me and my friend Donovan. So if you guys are watching on my YouTube channel, you most likely had already seen that video. And in that video, we tried to make some predictions of who's going where. Last time I was here on FAU Hour Radio, Jacob Brown did the same exact thing. However, there was some news that had come up. Aaron Rodgers decided to stay. Russell Wilson was on the move. And there's another guy that is going to be deciding to stay that, to be honest with you, I did not expect this at all. Tom Brady is returning for his 23rd season in the NFL, 45 years old, and he confirmed he will be playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, as I previously mentioned, I was not in the camp believing that Tom Brady was going to come back. Tom Brady, he sounded different when he talked this offseason about retirement and what his plans were after the season. He sounded a little differently. He sounded a little more committal to spending time with his family, to looking at ventures outside of football. And he did for, a month and a half, really? Got tired of it, I suppose. He couldn't have chose worse time for me. I was in the middle of watching the Batman movie, which was absolutely incredible. If you have yet to see it, please go watch it. I'm not even like a movie buff or anything like that. I like sports. This is my thing. But I know a good movie when I see it. And Batman was incredible. Worth all the 3 hours. I used to not think that, what's the guy's name? Dude from Twilight. Wow. Watching this back later, I'm gonna be kicking myself. But I didn't think he was a good actor, just based off being forced to watch Twilight. Haley, if you're listening to this, I was forced to watch Twilight, all 5 movies in the span of about a week and a half. And watching that, I didn't think he was necessarily the best actor, but he was. In Batman, got off a little Batman tangent there. He was great. Zoe Kravitz was great. Everything was great. The storylines, it really felt like a movie that should have been 6 hours long. But during that, around the 2-hour mark, I suppose, is when Tom Brady decided he's coming back. And I didn't have my phone on me, so I didn't know until I got out afterwards. And seeing it on my phone, seeing my friends' reactions, seeing everything seeing everything afterwards, I was first off surprised, but then I was excited. And I'm not as surprised as I would have been, like, let's say 3 years ago, I heard that Tom Brady had retired and was coming back. As a Dolphins fan, I would have been very pissed off. I've been annoyed, like, this guy just won't leave us alone. He won't leave. How much more does he need? And he has his 7 rings. He has 6, of course, with the Patriots, 1 with the Buccaneers 2 years ago. But I've really grown to enjoy Tom Brady. I've grown to appreciate greatness, and he's undoubtedly the greatest quarterback of all time. Some older Dolphins fans would love to say Dan Marino. Some Colts fans would love to say Peyton. Some 49ers fans would love to say Joe Montana. However, anybody who's thinking rationally, anybody who's thinking unbiased will say that Tom Brady is the greatest of all time. And I didn't get to witness that in Michael Jordan. Didn't get to witness that in Wayne Gretzky, Muhammad Ali. I am witnessing it in soccer with Messi, Ronaldo, take your pick. One of them is the greatest of all time. But here in America, Tom Brady is the only GOAT, well, besides LeBron James, but that's an argument for another day. He's the only GOAT that is undeniable that I have been able to see live and in person with my own eyes. I went to quite a few Miami Dolphins games where he was on the other side. Fortunately for me, more often than not, we beat them, as Miami tended to do down here in South Florida. But with the Buccaneers, I grew to appreciate his greatness. I grew to appreciate just his personality. He has just a natural drive in him to compete, to win, and to see that in my own state, to see that one more time against Miami Dolphins, but see it mostly against competition that I really don't care about, I really grew to appreciate him. His personality, I believe, has gotten a little better since coming down here to Florida, which is, it makes sense. You're up in Boston, you're dealing with 10 degrees during the winter. I went to the beach in March, in spring break. Everyone comes down here for spring break. Tampa, it does get a little colder. However, it's still Florida. It still gets hot. It's still hot most of the year. You can relax. You can wear a basketball jersey, some shorts, some flip-flops, as I like to do. And we've seen his personality become a little bit more loose, easygoing, relatable is really how I like to look at it. Ever since coming down here, I've really seen that from him. So going on into next year, now looking at what this means for the NFL, the Buccaneers have a real legitimate shot at winning again next year. I'll get into the signings later. If you're watching this video, I'm probably going to split up the YouTube videos. If you're listening to this on Spotify, just keep listening to the end and you'll eventually hear my free agency talk. However, I do plan on breaking this up into 3 separate videos, probably. Maybe I'm just talking nonsense right now, but that's what my plan is. But the Buccaneers have a great chance of going on next year and winning it again. The NFC is undoubtedly the weaker conference, and the NFC South really is probably the weakest conference in the entire league, the weakest division in the entire league. Some teams within that division, all 3 of them in fact, the Panthers, the Saints, the Falcons, all 3 are now currently in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, and you can't help but assume that them committing so hard to getting Watson is due to the fact that Brady's back in the division. Now, I don't know how the Saints could afford that. I'm surprised Watson would want to go to Carolina with the state of the team. The same with the Falcons. I don't know if he would really want to go there. The Browns is probably his best option if you're asking me. But that is a very winnable division. We saw him bring back Ryan Jensen, just recently signed Russell Gage. Have some other free agents out there, see what Gronk decides to do, see what Leonard Fournette decides to do. However, they were able to franchise tag Chris Godwin. You still have Mike Evans. You now have Russell Gage. They lost They lost Alex Cappa. However, that is still an elite team. And they're most certainly, with the signings that they're conducting this free agency period, they're most certainly backloading these contracts. And they're looking at this like, hey, we are going to stink the moment Brady leaves. But while Brady is here, we're going to do everything in our power to win. And I think Brady sees his division, sees the conference, just lost Russell Wilson out of conference. Green Bay and the Dallas Cowboys have choked repeatedly over the last few seasons. The 49ers are rolling out with a rookie or a second-year quarterback, but basically a rookie with Trey Lance. The rest of the division, like I said, is a mess. And, the Rams could experience a Super Bowl hangover. We've seen this a lot, especially in LA. It's very easy to get distracted. Very easy to bask in your own glory and your own presence, really, because the Rams, what they did was amazing and spectacular and should be celebrated. However, there's just so many factors at play for the NFC that the Buccaneers have a legitimate, very good chance at being at least the NFC representative in the Super Bowl. AFC is going to be a very entertaining mess next season. There's so much going on there. There's so much talent. Free agency's not even done yet. I haven't even checked my phone to see if anything else has happened yet. At this time, apparently no. The AFC's a mess. You have a team like the Chargers getting better. My Dolphins, I'm very, very content. Very happy with the moves we've made so far. Nothing world shifting, but it's good. But the NFC is very winnable. And Tampa has to look at their team and say, we have a good chance of winning. And I really think that's what led Brady to coming back. In his month and a half of retirement, I think he was sitting there and missing that competitiveness, missing that you have a target on the wall that you know you're aiming for and going out and trying to achieve it. And so he's going to be coming back. The fire was lit within him, and I think that fire is going to be as hot as ever. He just experienced for, again, 6 weeks what it's like to be without football, what he thought was the end. And clearly he didn't like it. Clearly he didn't like the fact that he would never play football again, never see the field again. And that lit a fire underneath him, and Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo, Manchester United, I guess, was the last to bring it out of him. We saw that his reaction. We've seen other interviews where, he said he was done, but it was non-committal at best. And then talking to Ronaldo on the sideline after the game, Manchester United beat Tottenham 3-2. He's like, after Ronaldo asked, like, "Oh, straightforward, are you done?" You could tell the wheels were turning, and the wheels have turned and produced a machine. And now Brady, the GOAT, back for his 23rd season, going to be 45 years old. That is remarkable. Ben Roethlisberger at the end, look how beat up he was. I mean, just look at Andrew Luck in his 20s when he retired, how banged up he was. He retired because of how banged up he was. You have all-time greats like Dan Marino that didn't go out too spectacularly. So you look at Tom Brady, 45 years old. This man should have theoretically retired 10 years ago. And he's back, going to be with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, trying to win his 8th Super Bowl, and I think they have a very good chance at doing so.